Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to talk about Laravel testing, in particular how I test middlewares. So I've got an empty Laravel application, just Laravel new, and then I've created this middleware that we're going to use to test. So this first section of this middleware does nothing more than checking for the current user, and if there's none, we redirect to the login page. And then at the second step, we check for the user's name, and if they are in this particular block list here, we return a 403 and abort this action. And then finally, if everything goes well, we just continue with our request. So how would we write a test for this? First of all, let me create a artisan make test, and then let's have a chat. So tests feature, here we have got our test. Let me remove the dummy here. So how I usually test middlewares is I create in this test file, I create a route, a dummy test route, and then I apply this middleware that we want to test against this new dummy test route, and then I write all my tests against this route. This way, we've isolated the middleware from the rest of the application, but at the same time, we still test it against scenarios with real routes and how the middleware works like a middleware basically. So let me show you how that works. I'm using pests here, but this also works with regular PHP unit. But this is how we start. So in the before each, we will define using the route facade. We will define our route. I will call it like test middleware. You could call it whatever you want to, and then I will just return a simple it works, like something that the route would render, and then I will apply the middleware. Our middleware is called username middleware class, and now for this test file only, we've defined this middleware and this route, and we can use this to write our test. So for example, our first scenario, if we go back to our middleware here, was if there's no user, redirect to login. So it redirects the user to the login page if there is no user function. And now we just write the test as we would always do. Okay, so this .get, this will call the endpoint, which we call test middleware. And then we know, because there's no user, we have set a status of 302. And we can also specify a set redirect to login. And if we give it a go, we should see this will go through. And to verify that it's actually not working, let's change this to something wrong, and we should see that the test fails. Exactly what we expected, so awesome. How would we test the next part? The next part is that we get a 403 if there's no user. So again, same thing as before. We know how to create a user using a factory, and then we apply the acting as to the get request basically. So it denies access to the route if user is on block list. So function, we have a user factory, and then create, and our user is called John Doe, right? That's because that's the user that we want to block here. And then if we do the same thing here, but also pass in the user acting as user, we are now asserting a status code of 403, because that's what we were dropping in, right? Let's give it a go. And we should see that it works. Again, verifying that it doesn't work with the wrong one. Perfect. And the last thing is we can, let me also do the thing that it passes. It passes the middleware if user is not on block list. So I'm not on the block list, so let me add here, writing my own name. And we should see this is going to give us a 200. And then obviously we can also assert that we see our content here, because this is actually responding with this string, right? So here we go. Why is this failing? Because do I have a oh, I actually also need to make the API call, otherwise it won't work, right? So here we go, and now it should work. It works. And again, to verify this, this is not working, and this is working again. So this is basically it. I think you see how this approach can work. And the good thing is, because this is a proper route, we can do fancy things here. We could, for example, go ahead and say this needs to be an ID, or we could like literally return an entire view here and do something like, let's say, like, I don't know, like the welcome view, and then we can make assertion against that, and then we will see like assert C is, for example, not working. There you go. All these things are possible, but at the same time, if I go to, like, this is my application, I should be able to go to my browser and go to my application. I should be able to visit this thing. Validate link. And if I give this a go, you can see the application, but at the same time, if we go to my test URL, this is not existing in my application. It's just in the test and only in this particular test file. I could go here and take this, go to my example test and see this, and this should not work. As you can see, oh, let me undo this first, like return just it works. And then if we go forward, you can see this is returning a 404 as expected, because in this test file we don't have this route. Hope this video helped you and it gives you an idea how you can test middlewares in your application without having to write like unit tests that mock out things or stuff like that. Thank you, and see you in the next video.